Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We got a dev Q&A that just dropped a little bit out of the blue, so we're gonna be going through that real quick here. It's I'll leave a link to this dev blog down in the description below if you guys want to look through this yourself. But we're just gonna jump through it. I'll read off the question and their answer, and I'll also give my own thoughts on the question and their answer as well, of course. So, do the devs ever plan to head into modern combat/wars? They've said in the past that they would once they've exhausted World War II. They're kind of saying the same thing here. They're saying there are no such plans for Enlisted. Right now, they want to finish their redesign of the game, which is fair, absolutely. And then they want to, do more later stages of World War II. And I think that's pretty fair. I think that's a good answer. While I think that modern combat actually works in Enlisted a lot better than I initially thought it would, I think modern combat's great, weirdly enough, in Enlisted. And I would love to see it in the game. I think that their redesign of Enlisted and new progression in the emerging campaigns means that they can do a lot more in the game in terms of different campaigns. And that means that kind of puts modern combat in, onto the back burner for now. But I would assume that in a couple of years, we'll probably see some modern stuff. So with the full release, 1.0 of Enlisted, if you guys didn't know that, 1.0 of Enlisted, the actual full release of the game, should be coming soon, as well as the tech tree merge with a long-awaited weapon modification and veteran soldiers be available. So if you guys don't know what this is, there's a thing in the upgrade trees that's like veteran soldiers and weapon modification and like I think it's called veteran weapon tuning or something like that. It's been in the game for as long as I've been playing, so upwards of 2.5, almost 3 years at this point, and it's never actually been a thing. And now they're saying that considering the scale of the progression redesign, they've put that on hold, but they may come back to it. I think that's fine. We never knew what it even did. It's always just been like a rumor kind of thing. So whatever, right? You're not really losing anything if we never had it in the first place. Are there any plans to increase the squad size? By squad size, they mean how many players you can play with in a single group, right? Like you can squad up with your buddies and have 4 players right now. And then they're saying, or allow us to queue with or against each other. I mean, you can already do this. I would say definitely not, right? Yeah, they said definitely not. Because the community has the opposite, less player groups. I agree with that. I think that like playing with your buddies is obviously like a good thing, and that's something that like people should do. But I think that it is absolutely a problem in Enlisted where like you get these groups of high level players that just kind of stomp through the game and just annihilate everybody. I do think that they should do this. They said they might change the priority of matchmaking to add in groups on groups, which I think that's an excellent idea. Are there any plans to implement customization of weapons, like adding your preferred scopes or bayonets, or switching at the magazine? No, definitely not. I don't even need to read this. You guys can read this if you want, but they're not going to do that. I mean, like, it's not Call of Duty, man. Right? I mean, is there going to be a choice to choose the bombs and shells of a plane/tank? We noticed there's quests for the option to consider it. However, it will have a number of difficulties, and the new Enlisted vehicles will have a battle rating, which would change. Yeah, I think for planes, this is kind of impossible with battle rating, because, like, if you allow people to change their loadouts and stuff, like, okay, well, is a P-47 with, 4 HVARs and 2 500-pound bombs the same as a P-47 with, like, a bunch of HVARs, like 12 HVARs? I don't think so. Right? If you can have, like a P-51 and you can put HVARs on it, doesn't that massively change its BR? So yeah, I kind of agree that for planes, that doesn't make sense. For tanks, I don't really have a problem with that. I think if you have a tank and you can bring heat rounds versus, more HE rounds versus more AP rounds, I think that's fine. If you can start bringing like APCR or, AP armor piercing discarding sabot, APDS, yeah, that stuff. Whatever, like the hyper armor penetrating rounds, that's going to cause problems in terms of balance. So that won't be possible. But I think that like, we should be able to change the amount of shells that we're bringing into the game. Like, if I want to bring, if I get to bring 60 shells, I think I should be able to choose to bring 45 high explosive and 15 armor piercing, as opposed to being forced to bring 45 or 30 of each, right? Will chat in the friend system be improved, such as squad chat, knowing if your friend's in a game or just AFK at the lobby, chat with even enemies in a game? They said yes, they've been added to our plans. Chatting with enemies, doubt it, never led to anything good. while I disagree with the fact that it never led to anything good, and I think some games out there actually do have really fun proximity chat and team chat and stuff like that, I don't think it's something that Enlisted needs. Like, I think BattleBit Remastered does it really well. I think that, like, Rising Storm or Red Orchestra did it really well. But I agree with the devs here that, yeah, no, this does not need to happen. Like, it's not something that Enlisted needs. It's just not. It's not a thing that the game is really trying to do. Can there be an option where we auto log in? They have plans. Sure, that's kind of cool. I mean, saves a click, I guess. Are there plans to improve the replay mode? Didn't they just improve replay mode? Namely, to add a function to go back in time and what? Didn't they just do this? Yeah, in the last major update, they added the option. Yeah, they literally just, what? They already did this. Do the devs plan on making a live spectator function for custom games? Not at the moment, because we think this kind of functionality is only needed when there are tournaments. When the tournaments appear in the game, we will make this functionality. Yeah, sure. I don't know how many... I mean, like, I've personally ran 2 tournaments for Enlisted, and I don't really know how much people give a shit about that kind of stuff. I'll be honest with you guys. Like, I don't think there's a whole lot of interest in competitive playing of Enlisted, because I just think that inherently Enlisted is a very casual game. I think there's always going to be groups of people that want to play a game competitively and want to play a little bit more on the knife's edge, you know, kind of high-level gameplay. But I think in terms of, from a developer perspective, Enlisted is not really the game where I think a lot of people really want that. I do think a spectator mode would be useful, though. Although we kind of have it with replays already. Will there be some way to take more premium squads into battle, since many players will have more of these squads that they can use after the merge? We recently decided that premium squad owners will be able to count on an extra slot. That's news to me. I didn't know about that. They're specifically for premium squads. Okay, that's big info. So I guess if you have a premium squad, you just get a free squad slot specifically for premiums. That's kind of cool. That's a good change. This will allow them to take their favorites into battle, even if all slots are filled. This feature is in the works. I'm not sure if we'll have time to introduce it directly with the major update. It may appear, okay, fair. But that's a good change. That's a great change. I like that a lot. Well done. That's cool. When are there going to be tournaments? A well-designed tournament structure will lead to large social media promotion and growth for the game. I actually disagree with that. I think that, like, a big tournament is not really what Enlisted needs. At least not a competitive tournament. I actually think that what Enlisted should do is more of like events that are kind of like the competitive events that they've done in game. I think they need to do more stuff like the Twitch events where they had like the Twitch streamers all play against each other. I think doing stuff like that, and like the dev event where like the devs played with players, like I think stuff like that is a lot better in terms of growth and like social media promotion and things like that than just some big tournament. Because again, the reality is that I think a lot of players just don't give a shit about tournaments. It's just not something that the game is built for, in my opinion. And in the short term, we're busy. Yeah, of course. As long as we're not done balancing what is essentially a new game, it's too risky to make large scale tournaments. Sure. And then they want to do small competitive events. Yeah, I think that's absolutely the correct call. I don't think that Enlisted ever needs large scale tournaments. I just don't see a world where that really ends up mattering. It's just not inherently a very competitive game, right? Like it's not like we're not playing like Call of Duty or Battlefield even, right? Like Enlisted is just so much larger scale. There's so much more shenanigans going on to make it really, you know, a truly competitive match. When do you plan on expanding the mod editors? Didn't they? Oh no, that was the replay stuff. We've already clicked a lot of feedback from the authors and working on it. Sure. I've actually seen that. They've done a lot of cool stuff with it. I've seen a lot of people do some awesome stuff. Next month, we'll start communicating with the other community even more actively. Oh, yeah, the custom hangers. Custom hangers are awesome, guys. If you guys don't have a custom hanger, get a custom hanger. Super cool stuff. Are there any plans to link Enlisted? Basically, they're saying they will soon. Are there any plans to link Enlisted with the Gaijin Marketplace? Didn't they already do that? Oh, make event squads weapons be able to be traded. Sure. In the future, we want to make events more convenient, introduce content suitable for trading. Right. So they're going to add like this to the Gaijin Marketplace. If you guys don't know what that is, like you can trade like premium squads and stuff. Will the old premium squads get their engineer slot? Man, this is a tough one. I think they should. I don't know why they haven't yet. People talk about this a lot. It probably will not be all squads in the preparation itself. See, how does that possible? Like, you did it for the other squads. I think it's because they hard-coded these squads, and they have to, like, remake them. I think they fucked up with that. Is there any plan to improve the current animations of the game? Do you plan to add movement inertia and to make leaning a bit slower / more? Man, people are always talking about leaning, man. It's not a problem. Back when we announced the roadmap, we also told you about the work on the animation improvements. The promise is not forgotten. The work's in progress, blah, blah, blah. Right. We don't see leaning as a problem. I agree. And we don't see the community actively discussing it. Okay, I don't know about that. But we're always open to constructive dialogue. Okay, I do see a lot of people talking about leaning. Maybe not so much recently, but I have seen a lot of people talk about it. I, for one, don't think leaning is a problem. I think leaning is blown way out of proportion in Enlisted. I think people talk about this shit like it's like the worst stuff ever and like leaning is ruining the game. Honestly, dude, I think if you're losing a gunfight and you're blaming it on the fact the other guy was lean spamming, I think you are going to lose that gunfight anyway. Like, compared to games like BattleBit where lean spamming is actually insane, like, and your whole body leans, like, no, I don't think Enlisted has a problem with lean spamming. I'm sorry. Will we ever see the social function of Enlisted, like a referral program? No, definitely not. In our experience, such systems do not work well enough and they're used by misbehaving players. Yep. Who create extra accounts. Yep. Yep, that's fair. Are there plans to add paratroopers to all factions? Ha! I told you guys. Are there plans to add paratroopers to all factions? So far, there are no such plans. That means paratroopers are not going to be in the tech tree. They will not be in the tech tree. I think that's bullshit. I think that's wrong. I think locking an entire type of squad that is not only incredibly awesome, fun, and dynamic for the game behind events and paid content is a horrible idea. I think that paratroopers should absolutely be in the main tech tree. And the fact they're not, I think, is utter bullshit. But this is confirming that they will not be because they said we can introduce more squads with events and as a premium. And they're saying that there are no plans for them to be in all factions after the merge. Okay, if they're not going to be in the German tree, if they're not going to be in the Soviet tree, then they're certainly not going to be in the German tree for free to play. Is there any plan to add a vehicle slot for free to play players? It's pay to win free with the sole exception of free to play having to pick between planes or ground vehicles. Not playing, we want to keep the game's infantry vehicle balance since most players have 3 infantry squads, only 1 vehicle squad, so this guarantees balance. Okay, that logic doesn't make sense. I get what this person's saying. They want to say, like, hey, I want to bring a tank and a plane. I actually agree with that. I think that's something that they should do. I think that would make the game a lot better. But I also think that with the game going to the progression merge and it being BR-based, I think it's less of a problem. Because, like, the current issue with it is that if you play Enlisted and you bring your Stuart tank because you like tanking and the enemy has a Tiger tank, well, your Stuart's worthless. While if you would have brought the P-38, you could have bombed it out. Well, right, like, that's a problem. But in the new system, your Stuart is only going to be going up against tanks that a Stuart can fight. So it's not going to be as big of a deal. So I don't think that this last statement, which is the big statement, right, leads to situations where they cannot compete. I don't think that's an issue in the new system. Assuming it works as intended. So I think that this is less of a big deal, but I do think that free-to-play players should be able to bring both. Do the developers want to implement on the new map / add to current map side objectives in addition to the main one? Such tasks are interesting. We even have a list, but it's hard to achieve a satisfying balance. And because of this, so far, we're not planning to introduce these new features. I mean, I don't know. I kind of disagree with that. I think that you could do some stuff that actually works pretty well with that without it being particularly unbalanced. Any plans to make changes to Gold Order soldiers, giving the oldest Gold Order soldiers max stats? Does this matter? This doesn't matter anymore. They don't need max stats because in the new system, isn't every soldier max stat? So this question doesn't matter, right? Isn't that a big part of the new system with perks? Is that in the new system, we're not going to have perk points being rolled anymore. You're just going to have max stats. So it doesn't, right? I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. So yeah, that doesn't matter. Okay, well, cool. Yeah, this is actually a good Q&A. I like a lot of this. This is better than I think a lot of the QAs have been in the past. So yeah, thank you guys. Thanks devs for doing this. I appreciate them taking the time out to do this. This was a lot better than I think a lot of the QAs have been in the past. So yeah, well done. Other than the Paratrooper stuff, that's bullshit. You guys should add Paratroopers to every faction for free-to-play players. I know it's a money cash cow, but I don't know. You talk a lot about balance. This is balance. All right, guys. That's it for me. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Like, comment, and subscribe. Blah, blah, blah.